It's raining. Not pouring, but raining. You guys eating here today? Texas on the platform. And that's as far as we're gonna get in the rain. Hey, buddy. Hey, bud. Yeah, I'm glad it's not pouring, but it's raining enough to notice. It's more than it was yesterday when we were on our walk. Johnny has his yearly doctor's appointment today after school, so if we're gonna walk, this morning is certainly the time to get it in. So gas at the Sheetz on my left is $4.19 a gallon this morning. And I do see a delivery truck there with more gas, so that's a good thing. I think what's been happening the last few days is everyone went to fill up before it, you know, increased anymore, and that put extra demand on whatever we had locally. Kind of the same thing for some stuff at the stores. You know, we've seen this happen before. Demand goes up unexpectedly, and then, you know, before we know it, there's a shortage in lines. So I'm glad there's no lines there, but it's just going to be light rain on the way in. There's actually quite a good break between here and you know, 150 miles to our west, where there's another line of showers headed our way over the mountains. So at least on the way in, weather shouldn't be an issue. It'll just be a matter of when that rain gets here as to whether or not Dawn and I can get in our walk and or are walking in the rain. So time will tell. It feels like a Monday after being home yesterday. I mean, it really feels like a Monday. Oh, it made good time into downtown, and the rain has been light or non-existent this water off the road, so that's good. So what they're doing over here is they're going to replace those two poles
with metal ones.
Metal ones. The poles actually, they look like they're wood. It seems hard to believe, and there's a whole bunch more of them obviously that go off towards Sharon Harris, but I don't know. At the very least, that one's getting replaced. There's two poles and they're about the same height. And
okay, looks like somebody had a little bit too much fun last night and took out the fire hydrant. Oh well.
It's 47 and we got more rain coming in, but we're out here, baby. We're out here. Oops.
Yeah.
Well, Dawn and I aren't expecting to see anybody else in the parking lot over here this morning, but it looks like there's an exercise class at the community center.
So a couple days ago, front page story that for North Carolina, we were briefly considered by Rivian for a new plant, $5 billion plant. Now, it has since gone to Georgia. But last summer, apparently, there were some pretty heavy discussions between Rivian and North Carolina Commerce Department. And of course, when it got down to starting to be serious, in other words, the initial pitch, I guess went well, and then North Carolina came back and asked Rivian, what's our next step? And Rivian just said, there is no next step with your can't sell cars over the because of the dealership laws in North Carolina. We're just not interested in pursuing North Carolina any further. So North Carolina got rejected from consideration for the new Rivian plant. And of course, that they mentioned that Tesla's got this deal that they've worked out with the car dealers, or
North Carolina.
Or anyway,
Dealers Association or whatever it is.
Well, it was through the state, but the whole point is they were able to get enough muster.
All right, I'll let you turn around.
Get enough muster muster enough support to get the I think 3 service centers and 3 retail outlets in North Carolina, but Rivian's getting none. And they're fighting tooth and nail. So anyway, Georgia also has this same law, but about the dealers. But they immediately introduced a bill, basically that looks like it's going to sail through the Georgia legislature to allow Georgia to sell cars on the internet, over the internet, without dealerships. And,
Right.
But only electric cars.
We got to do something about this, you know, free trade, and you know, it's not very democratic. Is all I got to say.
Well, yeah. Well, anyway, I wasn't happy that North Carolina. I would have preferred North Carolina made the same deal with Rivian as Georgia did.
Right.
Where we go. They did mention that the lady from Wake County, a Democrat representative in the state legislature for Wake County, she tried to introduce a bill to change this, but it never even got out of
Committee. Yeah, not
Not
interested.
Not interested. So
This is why we will not buy any cars from any dealers,
yeah, why?
whether they're electric or not, because they're trying to hold on to this good old boys
Yeah.
network, and we're not interested in supporting that. So
Well, and I've heard several other people comment on the internet, some more knowledgeable people. They also are thinking that this step by Ford splitting into a Ford E and the Blue is a strategic move so that they can split the business and go sell cars over the internet without the dealers if they're down the road, and sell off the internal combustion business to somebody else, because basically, you know, its days are numbered. And of course, sell off that dealer network, which is basically a stone around their neck,
right.
because you can't compete when you have a middleman, and the sole purpose of that middleman is to maximize his profit, and you're trying to compete on price with lots of people, including the Chinese, I might add. It gets really hard to have that millstone around your neck called a dealer. And so I'm sure, if you know, they would never say it publicly, but all the manufacturers, auto manufacturers, if they could push a button, sell cars over the internet, they'd do it in a second.
Yeah. Just a little history, you know, somehow way back when, in the beginning of time, Tesla got someone in North Carolina to allow them into that. They were asleep. They didn't realize what they signed off on, or the ramifications, or they weren't in the dealer's pocket, however you want to look at it. And Tesla got that
First,
permit for the one over at Westgate, that little tiny space over there.
a hole in the wall.
Yeah, and they couldn't leave there for a long time because they weren't going to be able to get the dealer license at another location. And, you know, Charlotte came along after the deal that they could have whatever this limited number it is, which I guess they agreed to because of growth at the current time, how many years that was going to work for, probably with some hope that it would eventually be
Well, I think
the law actually amended so that any valid car company could be selling their cars. But
I think that they preferred to cave at that little bit, and then they're going to build the moat really deep
right,
for everybody else.
yeah,
And,
Tesla didn't ask for any special
Right.
privileges or anything. They just basically wanted it opened up for anybody, including them, and it got opened up for them, but not everybody. And
Well, it's not really opened up for Tesla, because I'm sure they would.
right,
They don't like the fact that it could only be 3.
right. What I consider anything short of Tesla still being a one-shop operation at Westgate to be somewhat opened up, but yeah, we'll say limited opening up meets their short-term needs.
Yeah, I would definitely say
Obviously, and I saw in the paper that there was a piece of legislation proposed in Oklahoma, and I don't have all the details on it, but it was along the same lines of not allow them to sell cars, not allow them to have service centers. And I think in Oklahoma's case, they already have these privileges, or they already have it, so it would be removed. And hopefully that bill won't go anywhere.
Well,
But
the governor won't sign it.
yeah, and then, you know, we're waiting for Texas with you know, Giga Austin down there for them
Yeah.
to Texas to turn around and do the right thing. Because I know I was surprised when Elon was willing to build down there, but they weren't, the, you know, legislature wasn't willing. Maybe he thought, well, I'll come in and supply all these jobs and fix the power grid and do X, Y, A, B, and C, and then maybe they'll amend the legislation. We can only hope, right? Because
Yeah.
Texas is too big of a state for people to be jumping over to the next state to do their purchasing and servicing. And it costs Tesla too much money to send mobile in from hundreds of miles, basically.
Yeah, well, it's going to be, the state legislature in Texas only meets every other year.
Yeah, it's weird.
And so that's part of the timing on this thing. It'll be interesting to see how quick it can move through, if it moves at all.
Yep.
And if it doesn't, I would expect Tesla to use some of its clout with both the owners and the future owners, and then of course all these employees, and of course the fact that the legislatures there in Austin. You know, all these things should start putting a lot of pressure on those people who are, you know, basically love the dealership model, who are in politics. They're going to have to defend their position, and it's going to get to be very tenuous. They're tenuous. They're not going to have a really good leg to stand on. They're going to start looking like the greedy, like those folks up in Detroit, where basically the legislature says, well, look, if you just deposit this much money into my campaign thing, I think we can make that happen. You know, well, you're not supposed to publish those letters, those emails. That was just between me and you.
Yeah, well, you only have to but watch our local news, WRAL included, to see Crossroads Ford and John Heister Chevrolet ads and know what's paying for the news. And
Yeah, well,
you know, then you have to, where you follow the money. Just the same old thing as follow the money.
Yeah, but those car dealer ads over the air like that, those things are dying because people are streaming. I'm telling you, this thing is coming from every direction. You're just gonna have to move on. It's like, you know, you had the cash cow. You know, you milked that baby while you had it, for all she was worth. You're just gonna have to give up and go out and work for a living.
And what I wanted to add to Don's comments is, I think North Carolina should definitely feel it in its pocketbook that they lost those jobs down to Georgia, as motivation to change the legislation and open up some. The fact that it went to Georgia, well, A, it's still on the East Coast, it's still in America, and you know, they can lead the way for North Carolina and show them that you know, this is what happens when you make some smarter decisions. Aqua's here flushing the pipes again. I guess it must be every 6 months.
Yeah, I think that.
Or every 4 months. It's more often than you would think.
Right, they're supposed to.
Seems like yesterday to me, but. All right, my helper and I are gonna work on my Lego project. I get to build the boxing gloves today. I'm excited about that. That'll be a lot more Technique robot parts. This first step here attaches to the arms that are already constructed. And then you build the boxing gloves around that. So let's see how they turn out. So the meter reader's here, but he's not here to read the meter?
That's right. He's going to replace the meter with a newer one that they can read with the radio from the office, he said. They don't have to come manually read ours anymore. We're time of use.
Yeah, I send Don or me out every time so they don't step on my flowers. I'd hate to have to go fuss at somebody.
So that's the big advantage for Kitten, is that there won't be any more flower beds necessary. They just...
I'll believe it when I see
I
it.
understand. We'll see. Anyway, he's going to knock on the door. And
When he's going to cut the power.
Right, and I'm going to go throw the main breaker this time, so that it's just, because last time that guy had that trouble. Remember, he had to plug and unplug.
Well, you can go do that now. I can live without the power.
Right, he says it's going to take a couple minutes. I need to go get my thing wrapped up over here, because my UPS should be able to handle it. But just in case, I don't want to blow my computer over here.
I got the boxing gloves built and working. It's hard to do one-handed there. The little white on top, the red part's on the way. Back here building now what was next in the instructions. I had to take a lot of time to stop and sort red pieces to find all that I needed, but I did pretty good on that. I'm in the car and Ruby automatically put up the pediatrician's office, but let's add in SAU in the middle there. So right now it's looking, it's trying to figure out, work is 213, Fuquay Pediatrics is 242. I have to be there. 250 would be good. So as of right now, I've got enough time to do what I need to do. That's good. Wow, they really got to stoop low. My Facebook news feed from Fox Business. Filling a gas-powered vehicle can still be cheaper than charging an electric one. Yeah, I'm sure we can come up with an example of where that will be the case on, you know, the cheapest gas price in the entire country and the most expensive electric price in the entire country. And we can talk about that very small use case. I'm sure we can do that. I mean, what's the point of the article? I don't know. You know, gas is, at this gas station is $4.19. I'm pretty sure that's a 9. It's pretty much $4.19 everywhere up and down 401 right now until you get into Raleigh, and then it's probably a little bit different. And let's see, what is worst case for us? Peak demand is 22 cents a kilowatt hour at home. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can find some place in the country where an Electrify America charger is charging, you know, something that's going to make it like 35 to 45 cent a kilowatt hour on peak or something. But please remember, people, you do most of your charging at home. And yeah, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium even at the Tesla superchargers, you know, when you're traveling. And it's going to vary based on the cost of electricity in that particular part of the country and the time of the day possibly that you're doing your charging. But you know, I know in North Carolina, off peak at 8 cents a kilowatt hour is not bad. And I know that that's pretty low. And I know the folks in California and some other states are paying more, but still, generally speaking, with gas at, you know, in California where the electricity is more expensive, the gas is also more expensive too. So the whole movement of your vehicle there is liable to cost you more. I don't know. I just don't know what the point of the article is unless you want to try to talk people out of going and getting an electric car because they don't you know, want to pay higher gas prices. I mean, there is obviously a lot of stuff to consider. And I would like a title better, Understanding the Cost of Filling Up Your Car Electric versus Gas. Now see, that article and title could lead to an informative discussion about what it might actually cost you for both. But this article is, to me, it's designed to get people to not buy an electric car, and that makes me mad. Am I allowed to be mad about that? I'm going to be mad about it. It's like, really? You know, we've done the math many times on the channel, what it costs to run Ruby versus what it costs to run Jules. More Ruby than Jules because we've had Ruby longer. It's about 3 cents a mile versus a gas car at 10 cents a mile, and that's at $2.50 a gallon and 25 miles per gallon or something like that. And our electricity price hasn't changed, so it's still probably 3 cents. Hasn't changed appreciably, less than half a cent, less than a quarter cent, something like that. But the gas prices is now up. Now, of course, the miles per gallon of most ICE cars hasn't changed since doing that calculation, but now you'd have to do $4.20 a gallon. So I'm not going to try to do the math quick, but we're well over 10 cents now for ICE powered cars, and we're still sitting with Ruby something in the 3-cent range and Jules something in the 2-cent range. So it's cheaper. And you know, I know you're going to talk about the tires, and I know you're going to talk about, you know, the overall initial cost of the vehicle, and yep, all of that's true, but then you got to talk about not having oil changes, and you know, there's many videos out there that go into this. So let's talk to people like they're intelligent about the choice, and not talk to people about like they're stupid, because you guys, I know you're not, because you've been watching our channel and probably other electric car channels. And I'm just going to go with even most of the other people on the road. That, come on, let's assume folks have some skills and give them some useful information instead of these clickbaity titles. Sorry, I just got set off. Had to mention it. There is a little bit of foggy haze hanging over the city this afternoon. I think the majority of the rain is past. It would just be very light stuff. It's 52 out there. But I don't think we're going to get any more appreciable totaling in rain today. I also don't expect the sun to come out either. And I think we have more rain in the forecast for the week. Well, that's a very high price. $4.99. It says non-ethanol $5.99. All right, we're home. Ruby's plugged in. Johnny's checkup went fine. And no Taekwondo tonight. So I've been piddling with it just a little bit more. I added in some of the pieces here that are lime, and then this structure across. I wanted to put the pink down the front. There's only just a few more steps to have the pink piece and snap in there. It's like 8 wedge pieces and a couple of other flat pieces, and it'll be done. But the problem is I don't have any of these wedge pieces. None, zero, not a one. So I'm gonna have to order some wedge pieces. Yeah, the magenta and the bright pink. But you can see there what it looks like, and then it goes on the front. It's a very decorative piece, so not something that I need to you know, not something I need to worry about. Not anything that's going to keep me from just going right on down here to bag 11 and step 316 and continuing on with the rest of the build.